The Mongol horde spreads westward across Eurasia, wreaking havoc and devastation throughout the known world. The most powerful and advanced nation in Persia, the Khwarezmian Empire, is brought to its knees in less than 2 years by Genghis Khan's armies. All the while, as Mongol troops cut through Asia all the way to the edge of Europe like a hot knife through butter, back in the Far East, right in their own backyard, the Mongols can't quite figure things out in their war against the Song Dynasty. The Mongols are stumped by China's thickly walled fortifications, and for 4 decades, the Mongol Yuan and Chinese Song are stuck in a stalemate battle for supremacy over East Asia. Remember the dudes in the now fallen Khwarezmian Empire over here? Well, I didn't mention them for nothing. In 1273, the Mongols bring 2 of their Muslim engineers back to China to construct a weapon that would change the tides of the war. A Chinese witness would recount his description of the Muslim contraption in action.
When the machine went off, the noise shook heaven and earth.
Ironically, the prototype of this new Persian weapon, the traction trebuchet, originated in China in the 4th century BC. The Chinese trebuchet, called pao, for 1500 years is utilized on land and sea in siege warfare throughout Chinese history. By the 6th and 7th centuries AD, the technology would diffuse westward, and the Byzantines, Persians, Arabs, and Avars would adopt the use of the traction trebuchet, which would mostly replace the use of ballistas and other ancient siege weapons. During the Crusades, the Mediterranean region sees the development of an upgraded version of the traction trebuchet, the counterweight trebuchet. Where the traction trebuchet uses the manpower of up to 400 individuals, pulling ropes down on the end of the beam opposite the payload, the counterweight trebuchet instead utilizes a counterweight, usually filled with heavy stones, on an axle on the end of the beam opposite the payload. This allows for fewer operators, more consistent applied force resulting in improved accuracy, and greater applied force for greater range and heavier payloads. The diffusion of trebuchet technology has come full circle back to the Chinese, this time at their own expense. Kublai Khan's nephew returns to the Far East from modern-day Iran and Syria with 2 engineers named Ismail and Al-Auddin. Interestingly, Marco Polo would try to take credit from the Muslims, claiming he taught the Mongols the schematics to the counterweight trebuchet, but this was later disproved by imperial records, as well as the fact that several battles using the weapons occurred years before Marco Polo ever even traveled to China. The Muslim engineers are brought to the edge of the fortified cities of Xianyang and Fancheng, a vital river gateway in supporting Song China's strength, which the Mongols have unsuccessfully besieged for 6 years. The Persian subjects of the Mongols organized the construction of a fleet of counterweight trebuchets. Even the most sophisticated traditional traction trebuchets that the Chinese are accustomed to using and defending against max out at around 125-pound projectile payloads, while the new Muslim counterweight trebuchets hurl up to 660-pound boulders with improved accuracy. The Chinese fortifications are completely outmatched, and the city walls are breached within days. By 1279, the Song Dynasty would be completely annihilated, and their 300-year history would come to an end. And the Mongols, having finally defeated their greatest adversary, reaches the zenith of power of the Yuan Dynasty, with the subjugation of southern China and dominion over all of North Asia, with much thanks to the Muslim trebuchet. Thanks so much for watching, but listen, while I enjoyed making this video, it's a tremendous commitment of time and effort as I'm a one-man show. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing so I can continue making more content.